The coyote study started 13 years ago, actually in the fall of 1989, and the current focus now is in phase 2, and that is the impacts of the reintroduced wolf population on our coyotes. We have what we feel is a real successful intern program. So young biologists that have just finished college come in and get some real valuable field experience for 3 to 4 months. We also have paid technicians and as well as funded graduate students that work on these projects.
Well, most of our coyotes in our study area are generally in these open sage, dry meadow habitats. They tend to have a lot of small mammals, a lot of Uinta ground squirrels is a very big food source in the summer. Up here in the Lamar Valley, we're definitely, as you get towards Cook City, pushing the limits of what is a viable territory as far as requirements of raising pups and you know, making them survive. And Round Prairie is getting near that limit, right around there. When you get up higher than that, we definitely have coyotes, but just can't really make a living up there having pups and whatnot. So if you leave the valley floor and the open areas, just the snowpack and the elevation really starts to limit them, because as you gain just a little bit more elevation than this, you're looking at a snowpack that's, instead of melting out in late April, early May, is going to be there till early June, and that's right when the pups are born. That's a pretty critical time when you need to be provisioning a lot of food. So as far as just being able to survive, I mean, we have coyotes up in Cook City that spend the winter up there in the subalpine forest. So they're really one of the most adaptable animals out there. I mean, you have them in New York City, you have them in the Arctic, you have them desert. I mean, they've pretty much, anywhere they've gone, they've been able to adapt and exist. Previous to wolf reintroduction, we had much larger pack sizes. I don't know the exact numbers, but you know, we definitely had pack sizes of like 7, 8, as large as 10. So that's one of the significant changes since wolves, is that pack size on average has very much decreased. And we have many packs now that do just consist of the alpha pair. I mean, the most significant change is all of a sudden you, other than starvation or, you know, old age, you have this new threat of mortality, and that's going to have big impacts on their behavior. And you know, I think the biggest is just vigilance.
It's not easy to tell coyotes apart. I think we're the first group that's ever really attempted it, but there is natural variation between coyotes, and besides photographs, we make all our technicians and interns make sketches, and then they really have to look and see differences themselves. Sometimes they're air tagged or radio colored, but when they're not, you really have to rely upon those things that vary. And one of the most variable part of a coyote's body plan and coloration is its tail. The size, the shape, the location of what's called the dorsal tail spot, and also the color and the position and the size and the arrangement of the dark tail tip. Those vary a lot between individual coyotes.
Wolves are roughly 3 times the size of coyotes, even though they don't look it in their appearance. The average adult wolf can weigh from 85 to 135 pounds. The average adult coyote is going to weigh somewhere between probably anywhere from like 27 to 40 pounds, at least here. They are bigger back east. And there are some morphological differences as well. Coyotes have longer noses, pointier ears. They're just more lanky looking. Wolves have much more solid legs. Their snouts aren't quite as long or pointy. Same with the ears. And they're just basically designed for 2 different things. I mean, coyotes are predominantly scavenging and small mammal hunting, whereas wolves are pretty much, dependent on large ungulates for their food. I've heard people mention the term super coyote, where, these people have been poisoning them and shooting them and just been selecting for this smarter, just slicker critter. And coyotes are pretty slick to begin with, and yeah, it just amazes me. I mean, for all we do as humans and all the stuff we wreck and all the animals we take out, here's this animal that we try our damnedest to take out, and we can't even come close. And it's just a war that we can't win, thankfully. So it's good to see.
In any given season, we're tracking about 30 to 50 different individual coyotes. Since the beginning of the study, we've radio tagged about 235 individual coyotes. That's including pups and adults. So we have a really good sample size there that really helps. And the extent of the study is we have two study sites, one Lamar Valley and the other Blacktail Plateau. And they're both about 30, 40 square mile areas where we try to for sure know of every territory, and then within each territory or pack we try to identify every individual.
We get up in the morning before dawn, head to our study site as soon as it's light enough to see a good distance. We try and spot any coyotes, get visuals on as many as possible. We get out, we try and identify them, see what they're doing, where they're going, who they're with.
Those guys definitely have to deal with a lot of variables in the winter. Even if the snowpack's not that big, if you get a real nasty crust layer, that is going to lock them out from the small mammals that are on the surface of the ground underneath the snow. They really can get in trouble when that happens. We do dig snow pits just to see the layers and what they're dealing with, and it also has to do with their energetics. Are they staying on top? Are they breaking through? So winter's definitely the rough time of year around here.
We do snow pit analysis. And the purpose of that is to determine, the energy that these animals are putting forward as they forage, or in the coyote's case, mouse. And that's most of our time is spent observing, and that's the objective, mostly to try and get as many hours of observation mapping as we can, and try and get to know every pack as well as we can.
Depending on the day, we do radio telemetry 3 times a week, and we'll do an elk population count once a week. And most of the time, I guess, we spend observing.